Babysitters, what was your, okay, that's the last time I babysit for this family moment. One mom lied to me and almost destroyed my life. I was asked to babysit for a friend's aunt. I was told that I would be looking after a 7-year-old and a 5-year-old, and they were calm, easy kids. I said, sure, no problem. Famous last words. I get there, and mom just hustles out the door, yelling at me over her shoulder that she would be back in 5 hours. Now, here comes the crazy part. Remember how I mentioned I was told there were 2 children? It turns out that there are more than 2 children. In fact, there were 5 times as many children. Yes, you heard right. That woman took off and never said a word about the fact that there were more of them, leaving me to look after 10 children, all under the age of 7. 3 or 4 sets of twins, and they were let 10, 11 months apart. And then there were the babies. Honestly, I can't remember anything but the rage and anger I felt. So there I was, stuck with 10 children. I tried calling the mother, but she kept sending me to voicemail. I was so angry, I was ready to call children's services. The children were all around screaming for whatever reasons, so I said, screw it, I'm in it to win it. I want to make them something to eat. I changed the diapered ones, potted the older ones, and then let them go play in the backyard. For a while, I was still sitting with anger over the blatant deception as I cleaned up the kitchen. But it gets better. 5 hours later and no mom. Okay, a few minutes late, no big deal, right? I tended to the children, toileted and changed, fed them baths and off to bed. It's now almost 9 p.m. Mother is still not back. I'm furious and incensed at this point and beyond. I keep calling the mother and my calls go unanswered. Pissed, I called my friend and told her to call the mother, who was her aunt, and tell her to call me or come home. Because I am beyond pissed at being deceived this way. Mother never came back that night. So the next day, I'm at it again. I call everyone in the family, including my friend. No answer. So I said screw it and called the police. I explained the situation and they said they would send someone. Nothing. I spent the next day looking after the horde of children and could get no one to relieve me. I was so angry I couldn't see straight. These children were just a handful and more. I remember screaming at them to sit down. Somewhere in, the neighbor heard and came over. I explained the situation to the neighbor. What the neighbor said next shocked me. Oh, she does this all the time, said the neighbor. She lies about how many kids she has because no one would ever agree to look after that many children. The neighbor glanced at me. You know, she might not come back for a few days, I said. She does this so much, no one will watch her children anymore. I was speechless. I ended up stuck with these children for nearly 5 days. I called the police and child services and made it clear that either they send someone to deal with the situation or I was leaving and the children were on their own. Obviously, I was bluffing, but I was sick and tired of being there with them. So after nearly 5 days, a cop finally drags their ass over and makes an appearance. There was this lady with them and they came in to talk to me. In the meantime, I was still tending to children. It wasn't until the children were being loaded into a van that their mother finally decided to make an appearance. She saw the cop cruiser in the van and literally freaked out, screaming at them to stop. They ignored her and kept loading the children into the van. I stormed over to where the mother was, pissed and ready to punch her. What is wrong with you? I shouted at her. I've been stuck here with your children for 5 days when you said you would be back in 5 hours. And you will be paying me every single dime I'm entitled to for sticking with me with 10 kids for this long. You didn't say one word about the other children. You ignored my calls for nearly 5 days and just disappeared. I'm not paying you shit, the mother screamed at me. You called the cops to take my children. No, I called because you abandoned them, I shouted back. Just then, a black car pulled into the driveway where we were arguing. It was the husband who had been out of town on a business trip. He came over to ask what was going on, and I told him the look on his face was not good. He pulled his wife into the house. You could have heard him down the street, even if you were deaf in both ears. He came back out and approached me. Shannon, I want to apologize for the situation. I was out of town for work and didn't know about this, he said.